Lynn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika.
Hello, baseball fans. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Do appreciate it. While you are here, do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications so that you can stay updated with everything going on with the Atlanta Braves, with the trade deadline, with Major League Baseball as a whole. Obviously, we're here tonight to talk about the latest trade. That would be, of course, the Braves acquiring right-handed pitcher Tyler Mahle from the San Francisco Giants in exchange for another right-handed pitcher, Anthony Molina. So there's a lot to take away from this. There's a lot that you can look at it and point at and say, you know, things you don't like, things you do like. Just so you know, before we do get started, my phone is right here on Twitter, ready to react to anything that happens live, just in case you're wondering. And if something does happen live, before we really get started, please put it in the chat. I will see it, and I would really appreciate that, just to keep me on cue. And obviously reacting live is always a fun thing for everybody when it comes to the trade deadline. Again, thank you for tuning in. Really do appreciate that. So again, the Braves do acquire Tyler Mahle from the San Francisco Giants in exchange for Anthony Molina. Here's what I'll say about it. This isn't one that's going to light up the Twitter feed. I don't really expect a large crowd in this broadcast. Don't really think it's going to be that big of a headline that the Braves acquired Tyler Mahle. That is not why we're doing this video. It's more to explain what I think is going on. I already see it in the chat. I've seen it on Twitter. The bargain bin line, you know, we're shopping on the clearance rack. I hear you. But I've said from the jump that I thought that the Braves needed two starting pitchers. And I think this could be one of them. It obviously is because that's who they went and got first. I think this could be a lot of things. I think it could be a starting pitcher that the Braves will use. I don't think it's a postseason starter by any stretch of the imagination. I also think it could be a move similar to, you know, other moves we've seen before. Not necessarily for October, but moves to get you to October, to rest your staff. Because make no mistake, the bullpen has been worked to death this year, working far more than many other bullpens that are on a team that are in this good a shape when it comes to the standings. Very rare that you see this. And the rotation has not exactly been pulling its own weight. We can talk about specifics there. But all in all, I think this is more of a move to rest your pitching staff. This is a guy who can eat innings. In fact, on Twitter, I actually pulled it up. I posted this a few minutes ago. His last 5 games, he averaged around 5 to 6 innings. I can tell you this, he's had 18 games this year, 18 starts. He's thrown 94 innings. That averages to about 5 1/3 every night. So he goes into the 6th inning, and before you strike that down, just remember what team we're on. Grant Holmes hasn't exactly made it out of the 5th quite a ton. So this is, I think, an improvement in more of the covering innings department. More than anything, I think that's kind of what this move was about, to rest your pitching staff. I don't believe Tyler Mahle will be your 3rd starter in a postseason. I think he may start a game in the playoffs, but I don't think he will be in the top echelon of the staff. That is not what I think is going on. And a lot of people are going to look, you know, the casual fan, and I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't do it. I looked at his ERA and saw it was, you know, north of 5 and went, ugh, really? And when you do a little more digging, his fielding independent percentage is .438. That's decent. He also had a .306 ERA before his last start against the Padres. So, I mean, that's what one start can do to you. All in all, again, I don't love the move. It's not a move that I necessarily would have made, but these are the kind of moves that Alex Anthopoulos is known for. The under-the-radar, unexpected, one that no one's talking about. This is the kind of move that we have come to know Alex Anthopoulos for doing, right? That said, I don't believe the Braves are done. I have said since the offseason that they needed 2 starting pitchers. Yeah, since then. Because, like I said yesterday, or in the video that we dropped at 3 o'clock this morning in response to, you know, one final, you know, look at the trade deadline prior to all the action, at the end of the day, the Braves never really replaced Max Fried. They never truly replaced Charlie Morton. They found guys to fill the gaps for a short time. Grant Holmes is one of those guys. Reynaldo Lopez, one of those guys. Hurston Waldrop has been that guy. J.R. Ritchie recently has been one of those guys. But they haven't found a guy that's really been able to be a staple, other than Spencer Schwellenbach, who of course is on the injured list. That said, I've thought from the jump, if you want a complete rotation, I think you need to go out and get at minimum one starter, possibly two. Obviously, Tyler Mahle's not the guy you want at the front of your rotation. Well, good news for Tyler Mahle is he doesn't have to be at the front of the rotation. You have Chris Sale. You do have Martin Perez, who has been excellent. I can't say enough about what he did the other night on 20 minutes of notice after Reynaldo Lopez came out that he's injured, right? I mean, he goes out there and has a no-hitter for the majority of the game. So all in all, you don't have to be at the start of the rotation, right? You don't have to be Chris Sale. We need you to cover 5 to 6 innings a night and keep the game competitive. This is a regular season move. This is a move where you don't have to use Dylan Lee every night. This is a move where you don't have to use Raisel Iglesias every night. This is a guy who can come in and cover innings as a starter and lessen the taxation of your pen. This is a great move in that regard. Now, is it a knock the door down, bulldozer move, blockbuster? Absolutely not. No. And it never was going to be. That's not really what the point of this is. It is to cover innings. And that's how I view it. So again, he's going to cover innings. He's going to save the pen. I like it. You're going to rest your pitching for the postseason. The other thing to consider here, just for a second, he is coming from the Giants. I did a video about a month ago where I suggested the possibility that the Braves could target 2 Giants. Unfortunately, Tyler Mahle was neither one of them. I would have looked like a genius had that happened. But the 2 I was referring to was, of course, Robbie Ray and Logan Webb. Now, the Giants have said they have no interest in moving Logan Webb. They view him as a cornerstone for the next generation of the team. That could still all be very well possible. But I also think that the Braves could have made this move in good faith to maybe start a conversation for a Logan Webb, for a Robbie Ray, and that is interesting. It's not a guarantee that anything's going to happen, but it's interesting. Just like the fact that the Braves were in on Skubal, right? Well, they didn't get Skubal. He's headed off to the Dodgers. A natural pivot would be, hey, Tigers, what about Casey Mize, right? When you have conversations with teams, you may not get the first thing that you called about, but you might get the second or the third. And that's where I think this could be headed as well. But the key to this trade deadline, an interesting point of this trade deadline, is there are a lot of pitchers available, which is unusual, especially since the playoffs have expanded. There's a lot of pitchers that expect to be available. And again, they may not all get moved. They're not guaranteed to be moved. I think some more than others. Skubal was always going to get moved. The Tigers would be dumb if they didn't. I think Casey Mize is in a similar boat, considering at the end of this year he is a free agent. I think he's going to get moved. Whether that's to Atlanta or somewhere else, we won't know till it happens. But it's not just him. It's not just Robbie Ray. It's not just Hunter Green. It's not just Reed Detmers or Jose Soriano or Santi Alcantara. There's a lot of guys out there. And this is one that, again, nobody was talking about. No one was talking about. Alex Anthopoulos found him, and you could also view this as a move to do in case you don't get anything else done. It could be a preeminent move in case you don't get the move that you actually want done. And it does kind of help stabilize the pitching staff. It does kind of help put less pressure on Chris Sale, Martin Perez, to cover as many innings as they've had to do. Because as much as we love what Chris Sale's been able to do, it's also a factor of you don't want to overwork Sale. Because if he goes down, this all goes down with the rotation currently as it stands. That's what this move is about. I don't believe Alex Anthopoulos is done. I think he's far from done. But when you look across the aisle and you see Freddie Peralta's gone to the Mets, Tarek Skubal's gone to the Dodgers, Kevin Gossman has gone to the Cubs, the Braves needed to get in there. They needed to make their voices heard at least a little bit and let all the other teams know, hey, we're in the market for a starting pitcher. And we do have Tyler Mahle. And we're going to go with that for right now, but we'd love to hear some more offers, right? You got to play the game a little bit, and I think that's what's happening here. So it's pretty interesting. I compared earlier Tyler Mahle and Grant Holmes. A lot of people are going to get on this Tyler Mahle move. I already knew it was coming the moment the tweet came out, which is part of the reason I came on. Thanks for the audience, by the way. Really do appreciate you joining us tonight. If you're new here, subscribe. If you haven't already, like the stream. Really would appreciate that. But I knew when I got on here, I was going to see comments about Tyler Mahle and say this move is terrible. What is AA doing? I'm not surprised in the slightest, to be quite honest with you. And to be honest with you, I don't necessarily completely disagree, because when I look at Tyler Mahle, it's not a guy that I'm looking at going, yes, that's the guy we wanted. But you know what? Neither was Eddie Rosario. Neither was Jorge Soler. Neither was Adam Duvall. And especially neither was Richard Rodriguez in 2021 when we were here, 5 years ago, right? We were right here reacting live. And here we are once again. We didn't know what those guys were going to turn into. Did I like the moves? Yeah. More than this one? Yeah. But we didn't know that one of those guys would become the NLCS MVP. Another one of those guys would be the World Series MVP. And you never know. It's all a gamble. This is a move that is going to stabilize the rotation. It's also going to stabilize the entirety of the pitching staff. Beyond that, I mentioned the comparison to Grant Holmes. Holmes does have a better ERA right now. He's got a 3.88 ERA. Mahle's got a 5.13. But again, before his last start yesterday against the Padres, Mahle had a 3.06 ERA. So, I mean, what's 1 day difference, right? This is a guy who, again, you're going to plug in the back of your rotation where you don't necessarily have to go to a J.R. Ritchie, to an Owen Murphy, to an A.J. Smith-Shawver. You don't have to force your internal options to come up to the big league level and waste options, number one, but also you don't have to necessarily depend on your internal options, which a lot of people, there's this caveat of Braves country that would rather the Braves rely on the internal options, and I don't understand that. As much as I think that all these guys have potential, Smith-Shawver, for one's coming off of injuries. We don't know when Schwellenbach will be back. J.R. Ritchie is showing a lot of promise. I think he's a very good starter in his own right, but I don't know that he's ready for a postseason. He'll tell you differently. He's an ultra competitor, and I respect that. I just don't know that he's ready for that, right? And I don't know that the Braves feel that he's ready for that either. And the same goes for Smith-Shawver. The same goes, even if he was healthy, for a Hurston Waldrop. We don't know what these guys are right now with the internal options. They're great to have. They can grow into something. Look at Bryce Elder, what he's grown into over the past couple of years. He's been terrific this year. Excellent in 2023 for the first half. But what happened to him in the first half? He got tired. The All-Star break hit. After that, it was like he had senioritis. He just did not have any gas. And I think that's what the Braves are in part trying to avoid here, because you can't depend on Chris Sale, Martin Perez, and Bryce Elder to cover all the innings. And on top of that, you can't depend on your bullpen to always fill the gaps, especially when Suarez is hurt, especially when your bullpen is not really full of top-notch guys top to bottom. All due respect to everybody in the bullpen. This move, to me, confirms something. It confirms to me that the Braves know that they have a rotation problem, and we are going to see some changes. I've said for quite a while now, we've talked about this a lot, but I've said for quite a while that I thought the Braves were going to get 2 starting pitchers, at least 1, maybe 2. This week, once Reynaldo got hurt, and we still don't know where that's going to be. We heard from Walt Weiss today. He says he doesn't think it's going to be too long, but again, you can never really depend on that. When we heard that he's gone down, it's a kick in the pants for sure, but it's also, okay, we need 2. We need 2 starting pitchers, and this is only 1. But I think you get a Casey Mize, you get a Reed Detmers, you get a Jose Soriano, or a Sandy, or Casey Mize, Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, whoever it is that you want, picture him in the rotation right now. Picture him in there. Whatever it is, Chris Sale, your guy, Martin Perez, Bryce Elder, Tyler Mahle. Right? Grant Holmes is sliding down to the bullpen when that happens. Grant Holmes, all due respect to him, I think he's a great pitcher. I just don't think he's a starter. And that's proven by how many innings he pitches, how many times through the lineup he's able to go through. It's just not been consistent enough for me to say, yeah, that's a guy that I want pitching in the postseason. I think he's very solid in the bullpen, and to be honest with you, I think he's a much more valuable tool in the bullpen. You don't have a guy other than maybe Didier Fuentes right now that is capable of coming out of the bullpen and throwing multiple innings on a regular basis. And even with Didier Fuentes, I would trust Grant Holmes to throw 3 if needed in a game, right? But I don't know that I trust him to throw 6. And that's kind of the dilemma the Braves are in. They've been able to piece it together here and there, but right now, I really think the Braves are going to attack starting pitching tonight into tomorrow prior to 6 o'clock. And I think Casey Mize will be the target there. The rumor right now, and you can't believe rumors, especially when it comes to this team, so don't. But the rumor is that the Braves have prioritized Casey Mize. It hit me about 2 or 3 days ago. Man, Casey Mize does make a lot of sense. It's a guy that not a lot of people have talked about prior to Skubal's exit. Not a lot of folks were talking about Casey Mize. So I thought, well, that's kind of an under-the-radar situation possibly. Now everybody kind of knows, so we'll see. But I do think there's a lot of pitchers out there. Again, very unusual for a trade deadline for there to be starting pitching available, period, much less this plentiful. We have a super chat from Maverick, my good buddy Maverick. The Boston Red Sox swept the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. They are 23-3 in their last 26 games and 28-5 with their 6th sweep in the last 10 series. That is pretty darn good. That's solid. Yeah, good on the Red Sox. That may keep them from being a seller at the deadline. We have a lot of comments to get through. I'll try to get to as many as we can. Thank you to Maverick for the super chat. Guys, if you're out there and you want me to read a comment, the best way to do it is to super chat. As you can see, it's a lot to get through. I don't know that we're going to get to all of them tonight. But there's a lot of guys out there that a lot of folks are talking about. Get your opinion in. I do have the chat up where I can see it. So get your opinion in, and we'll see. I hear you talking about Hunter Green. If you'd asked me the other day, I looked at his baseball reference and went, ugh, he's got a 7.06 ERA. 7.06 is the area code that I am from, by the way. So that was an unusual ERA, but it was also notably high. I think we can all agree there. When it comes to Hunter Green, he's faced some injuries this year. I don't know how that shakes out, right? And I'm not saying that makes it, unapproachable. I definitely think it's approachable, but I don't know that the Braves are going to want to necessarily tie themselves down to a guy who has faced injuries this year. And that goes for, a lot of guys. Casey Mize has had a few injuries this year. That said, so did Chris Sale when we got him, right? You can always get one pending a physical, right? You can always make a trade pending a physical or whatever may have you. But I don't necessarily hate the idea of Hunter Green. We have just such a small sample size for this season, but I don't necessarily hate the idea either. Jose Soriano, I would take it in a heartbeat depending on what we're giving up. It was announced tonight. For those of you that don't know, I am from Columbus, Georgia. That is where the AA Braves are based. So have a pretty good, sight to see there. I have a pretty good eye on it. Cam Caminiti, John Hill, and Eric Hartman have all been promoted to AA. It wouldn't surprise me to see 1 or 2 of those guys move this week. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And I don't know who in particular I would send. Kind of depends on what the other team wants / needs. But I definitely think the Braves are getting ready to do something. And the reason I think it, beyond what we need, it's also what we have. When you look in Gwinnett right now, you have kind of like an 8-man rotation. You have a lot of guys there. Lucas Braun, who we just sent off in that trade last night for Lane Thomas, he was one of those guys. You have a lot, Herrick Hernandez. You have a lot of guys at the AAA level that you're going to have to make something shake at some point. Plus, the Braves kind of have to make a decision at some point anyway come Tuesday or come Monday night, tomorrow night, with Ha-Seong Kim. So something's going to happen, whether it be Jim Jarvis is sent down, whether it be Jorge Mateo sent down, Eli White sent down, or they trade Ha-Seong Kim or release him. They're going to make a decision. I tweeted last night that I thought the Braves very well could have, figured out their left field problem with this Lane Thomas situation and maybe even figured out their shortstop problem because if you platoon Mike Yastrzemski and Lane Thomas in left field, where does Mauricio Dubon go? That's the immediate question, right? He can't just find places to go every day. I think he's going to be your everyday shortstop. And that's going to put Jim Jarvis in a bind. It's going to do, I think it's going to kind of make the decision between him and Ha-Seong Kim pretty easy. I think the Braves are definitely going to explore trading Ha-Seong Kim, offloading some of that $20 million that he's getting paid this year. But all in all, when it comes down to it, I think Mauricio Dubon's too important to take out of the lineup. If you're going to platoon Yastrzemski and Lane Thomas, there's nowhere else for him to go other than shortstop, which a lot of people talk about Mauricio and just assume that he's going to be utility. Mauricio, when he was signed, it was expected that he was going to be the shortstop before Ha-Seong Kim eventually did sign. And the Braves kind of had a wealth of resources, in their opinion, at that time. Obviously, it hasn't panned out that way with Ha-Seong Kim, but the Braves did view it that way as well. At the end of the day, we have two really good shortstops, and one of them can play 8 different positions if we, need him to. And that's a very valuable tool to have as a utility guy for sure. But I also think giving Mauricio the everyday shortstop job, number one, could make it easier to re-sign him come 2027. I know baseball is probably going to be locked out, but hear me out. It could make it easier to re-sign him, bring him back to Atlanta, which I think would be a positive. I don't see that being a negative at all. I also think that it does help him offensively to only play one position, to not go from dirt to grass, as he put it back in spring training when I talked to him about it. That gives any player kind of a comfort of knowing, hey, I don't have to worry about playing left field, center field, right field, third base, second base, shortstop. I don't have to sit here and dance all over the field. I can focus on one position, be really good at it, be Gold Glove level good at it. By the way, he is a Gold Glove winner as a utility guy. He is solid defensively. No worries there. But it makes his bat have an uptick. There's a reason his bat's been better this year. He's been less mobile in the field, and I like that a lot. I think giving him an everyday position is not a bad thing. And look, you can move him still if you want to. Give Jarvis a game at short and maybe rest Acuna's legs in right or whatever you want to do. Michael as well in center. There's a lot of things you can do there. But at the end of the day, I think that makes the most sense, right? Talking with the media today, in the press box, I was at the game earlier and talking to the media. We all kind of think that makes the most sense, right? To have Dubon be your everyday shortstop and have, your platoon in left, which the platoon in left, I've heard some people get angry about that too. But remember, Eddie Rosario, Adam Duvall, Jorge Soler, they were all kind of doing that back when we won the World Series. So that doesn't bother me whatsoever, truthfully. But at the end of the day, I think Dubon's going to be your everyday shortstop. A lot of people aren't going to like that because Jim Jarvis has really developed a fan club. I'm not saying he's going to be cut, but he probably will be your bench infielder, if not Mateo. And then obviously in the outfield, they're going to have to make a decision between Dom Smith and Eli White. I think if that's the case, you're going to go with Eli White there to stay on the big league roster. Dom Smith, obviously great bat, and he's been terrific with the Braves, had a great run. I think Eli White gives you more positions he can play, number one, because he can play a position. And he's certainly a more versatile fielder. He can run really well, which, if you're going to have a bench bat, that's important. So all in all, the decisions are going to have to be made come Monday and Tuesday. I'm looking forward to them, and I cannot wait to see what happens. But yeah, a lot going on. I think, we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Obviously, I'm again monitoring Twitter as we go just to make sure that, inevitably what's going to happen is I'm going to get off this live stream. I'm going to check Twitter and the Braves are going to have traded for 3 players. So we'll see what happens, but there is a lot to go off of, and we're going to be live actually. Again, thank you all for being here tonight. We're going to be live once again tomorrow and probably starting at like 5 o'clock to kind of react to what has happened. If something pops off at 2 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to go on live the moment it happens. But we're watching and monitoring the trade deadline as we go. But we are going to be here tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, at least from 5 to 6:30-ish to react to it. If nothing happens, nothing happens. But I strongly believe that the Braves are going to do something. They can't not do something. as a member of the media put it to me today, if Alex Anthopoulos does not want or does not go out and get a starting pitcher, I would not want to be Alex Anthopoulos come tomorrow night. That would be my take. A lot of folks in the chat tonight. Again, really do appreciate that. We got 300 people watching. Terrific. Can't thank you enough. Really do thank you for that. And again, we're going to be here tomorrow night to kind of react to it live as we always do. Maverick with another super chat. Thank you, man. He says, here's food for thought. Mize average annual value is $6 million. Soriano $2.9 million. Robbie Ray $23. AA likes to extend players. Offload Kim for Ray and offset would be $3 million. Be interesting what AA does. I'm sure AA is having all of those conversations right now. He would be dumb if he's not. He is on the phones. He's probably going to be up all night tonight if I had to guess. But if it comes to me, and a lot of people don't like what I have to say, that's fine. When it comes to me, I really like Casey Mize. I really like Logan Webb. If you could somehow get, which I'm wishful thinking here, but if you could somehow get Logan Webb and Robbie Ray in a package, even still with Mahle, and you really, you can go with 6 starters or have a spot starter in the pen if you want. That would be terrific. I don't think that'll happen. I think you're probably at this point you're going to get 1 starter, and that's plenty, really, because when you get to the postseason, it'll be Chris Sale, number 2, whoever that may be, Martin Perez, Bryce Elder, and then everybody else is pretty much out of the pen, once you get to the postseason. A lot of folks in here tonight, a lot of folks not happy with the trades. Hopefully you'll be happy tomorrow night. That's all I can say. But again, just to reiterate one more time, this Mahle trade is not it's not the end. This is just the beginning, I think, right? Last night, people were mad about that trade because it wasn't enough. Lane Thomas is a very good fielder. He's also a really good hitter, against lefty pitching. And platooning with Mike Yastrzemski, who, by the way, hit a homer today, that's going to be just fine in left field, right? A lot of people wanted a solidified bat. They wanted the Braves to spend money, and I get all that. But that's never been the Braves' MO, and we have to be realistic. I don't mind that at all. I think Lane is actually a really solid move. I think with time, we're going to like it even more. When you talk to, fan bases that he once played for, they love him. And I think it's a matter of time before Lane Thomas is a folk hero in Atlanta to some degree. But at the end of the day, the Braves aren't done. They're going to go out and get a starting pitcher tomorrow. They have to, You can sit here and try to tell me that they're done, but I don't believe it. What we shall see. A lot of folks in the chat not happy with these trades. I hear you, but again, to me, it's one of those where you have to let it play out. Again, with Tyler Mahle, had this been a week ago, I think we all would have loved it because he had a 3.06 ERA, and if he had that 3.06 ERA. I think a lot of us would be like, man, that's a really good pickup, and obviously one start and that changes, but he fits in to the rotation right now as your number 4 guy above Grant Holmes in my book, and I think tomorrow Grant Holmes will officially move to the bullpen. What are my thoughts on if the Braves will get Willy Adames? I remember the free agency of Willy Adames, and I don't even remember what his contract was, to be honest with you. I'll have to look it up. I don't know that I'm really into that, especially when you have Mauricio Dubon on your roster. I honestly would rather him play there every day and save the money. Adames, 30 years old. He's hitting .224 with 18 homers. I think Mauricio is probably somewhere around that, to be honest with you, in terms of batting average and power numbers to some degree. Let me see. He's a free agent, 2032. He's making $182 million across 7 years. I don't know that the Braves need Willy Adames, to be honest with you. I mean, it would be nice to get a solidified shortstop, but I don't know that they really need it. I don't think they view that as a priority. And even if they did, I don't think it would be Willy Adames, if that makes sense. I think it would be more like what's rumored in Corey Seager. So, it just is what it is. I don't view that. And to be honest with you, I don't think Corey Seager is a real possibility either. I think that's kind of wishful thinking. Oh, man, that's the first time I've seen a negative Walt Weiss comment. Never in my life have I seen a negative Walt Weiss comment. And Little 3536 says Walt is an idiot. I have to tell you something, man. I've watched a lot of Braves games. I like the way that guy manages. And it's not just because he tackles the opposing players, which, by the way, there was a rumor that the Braves could pick up Jorge Soler from the Angels. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does, would that not be just a full circle moment in the same calendar year, the same season, to get Soler on the same team? That would be very, very interesting. But no, I've never seen a negative Walt Weiss comment, and I'm not calling you out for making it. We all get frustrated. Snitker got him all the time, right? And I like Snit. It's two different ways of approaching the game, but Walt, one thing I will say about Walt is he is here to win today. He does not try to, get by for today and wait till tomorrow, save your staff for tomorrow. No, that's why we're seeing Dylan Lee pitch and Rysel pitch. And when he was healthy, Robert Suarez pitch. We're seeing our top guys pitch most of the time, and that's because he doesn't take any win for granted or any game for granted. And I really like that about Walt. That's my take. Walt manages well. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, people hated Brian Snitker and the way he managed. I for one, didn't, but a lot of people did. A lot of people could not stand the way Brian Snitker managed. Lord knows, Sleepy Snit was a regular comment in my inbox. I again don't feel that way. I really like the way Snit held it down. He managed it perfectly in 21. He also taught Walt quite a bit, but Walt is more aggressive. I think he just naturally kind of has a more aggressive personality. It's all about what you like individually, right? I like certain things. There's things that I like about other guys. I kind of take people for what they are. Now, there's been managers that I don't like over the years, but those two, one of them's in the Braves Hall of Fame. The other is in first place right now. I'm not really complaining about either one of them. What are the Braves doing, says Justin Campbell. Man, we have a lot of comments today. The Braves are obviously amidst the trade deadline. I'm sure Alex Anthopoulos is busy, probably working the phones tonight, I would assume. We're going to have to see what happens. I'm hoping that maybe tonight, as we wait here and monitor Twitter, that something may happen. But right now, that's not the case. We're going to have to see what happens. But, I mean, from what I'm seeing on Twitter, my good friend Bill Shanks just said the same thing I did 37 minutes ago. He thinks there's going to be another add-on to the rotation. I do too. For anyone that's just popping in, the Mahle deal, when you look at it, is it going to be one that's going to, lead on the newspaper? Probably not. It's not a headline that a lot of us are really jumping at to see. But, I mean, Tyler Mahle is a solid pitcher. He's a guy who, again, can cover innings, which is something that Atlanta desperately needs. But it could also be a lot of different things. It could be that the Braves are being preemptive and saying, well, we may not get this deal done with Casey Mize or Logan Webb or Jose Soriano or Sandy or Hunter Green. We may not get any of those deals done. If we can get this guy locked up right now to help our pitching staff rest, why wouldn't we do it? For, the heavy price of right-handed pitcher Anthony Molina. Can anybody tell me who Anthony Molina is? If you can't, without Googling it, tell me who that is. I doubt you know. And that's kind of my point. Tyler Mahle is going to help this team right now get to October. And that's worth trading for in my book. It's not like we gave up 2 or 3 prospects. In fact, we gave up a lot more in my book for Lane Thomas last night when we gave up Lucas Braun. I think that was a bigger move than this one. And again, we'll never know. Anthony Molina could turn out to be a Hall of Famer for all I know. But that's my point. It's not like he's, a top-notch prospect that we don't know anything about. We'll see what happens. The Braves were never getting Skubal. That's one comment that I completely agree with. The Braves are always going to be amidst the conversation for Skubal just to see what the market is and see kind of what they were asking, but they were never going to get him. To be honest with you, other teams arguably made better offers than the Dodgers did. It's kind of a wonder that the Dodgers got him, but that's neither here nor there. I spoke last night. Kind of got some flack for it in the comments section. I spoke last night a little bit about the Skubal deal, and kind of what that means for the Braves, where they go from here kind of deal. And what I was basically getting at was if we can't get Skubal, Casey Mize is right there. We ought to target that, right? Well, I got a comment saying, hey, I thought this was a Braves channel. Why are we talking about Skubal? And point taken. But Skubal is one of the best pitchers in the game, if not the best pitcher in the game. He's now going to the Monstars of Major League Baseball in LA over there, and it is what it is. We're going to be locked out next year, so we're going to enjoy baseball while we got it. But that was it was big enough for me to talk about for all of baseball. I thought that was notable, and I still think that's notable. So if you haven't seen it, I would encourage you after we get done here, go check it out. There's plenty of content on the channel. We have different guys that we could target. We did that a couple months ago, like all the pitchers possibilities that were out there at the time. That's a good video. But yeah, there's a lot of things going on in the big leagues. Okay. JWC, I love you, but we're a lot of people are going after Skubal. I'm going to encourage you not to do that. This is not Skubal's fault. That's not how this works. He was, he wanted to stay. As from everything I've heard, he wanted to stay in Detroit. Detroit basically said no. They're going to trade because they can get 3 prospects back that were really good. And they did what they did. And, that's not Skubal's fault. I don't think he actually wanted to go to LA. And now he finds himself in LA. What's he supposed to do? Not go, not show up. So don't get on Skubal for what's going on. And truthfully, I said this in the video, I don't know that it's fair to be mad at the Dodgers, right? They're not breaking any rules necessarily, but that is the problem. The problem is this isn't against the rules, that you can defer all this money and do all of this, and teams like Colorado never will have a chance to get out of this, right? And that's been the case for a long time. Lord knows the Yankees had a good run, right? So, dynasties are a thing. And I'm not even saying that it's guaranteed that the Dodgers will win this year. However, when you have possibly the greatest athlete of our generation in Shohei Ohtani on your team, for next to nothing, mind you, it makes it a lot easier to acquire guys like Edwin Diaz, like Tarek Skubal, like Freddie Freeman, you get my point. It's the Avengers, over there. It's the final Infinity Stone. And at the end of the day, that's kind of where we're at. It's not, to me, it's not on the Dodgers. It's on Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball to get this in line, which is precisely why we're going to a lockout. If you're a Dodger fan out there, I'm not coming after your team. I'm coming after the fact that they were allowed to do this in the first place. And at the end of the day, we can debate it all day long, because I've had people say, oh, well, your team just needs to spend money. It's not about who my team is, who your team is. That's not the point here. The point is we're headed to a lockout, and that's why. That is the biggest reason why we're headed to a lockout, because owners now want a salary cap, right? And it's not 29 versus one owner per se, but it's pretty close. And they want the salary cap because it isn't equal across the board. It's not fair. Now, the other caveat to that is if you can't afford to compete, maybe you shouldn't own a team. There's that factor. But is that really fair either? I'm pro salary floor. I don't think I'm pro salary cap. I could be convinced, I think, but I'm not pro salary cap. but I am definitely pro salary floor. That is for sure. And again, it's not just because of the Dodgers. It's because in 10 years, what happens when the next one does it, right? What happens when if you can just buy players, what's the point of raising young prospects, right? The Dodgers, by the way, have a terrific farm system, always have. And how many of their star players are Dodger products? Very few. And that's just my issue. JWC says J.R. Ritchie is not ready for pitching in the majors yet. Command issues. I could see that. I don't know if it's necessarily command. I think today I actually talked to him after the game about it, and we've interviewed JR on the channel a few times. I like JR a lot. I think he's actually he's hard on himself, which makes him a really good competitor, and I think that's going to make him successful ultimately. But the way I view it and the way he said it was the Washington Nationals, number one, are a really good offense. Number two, they're a major league team, as you pointed out. And they were patient, right? He dealt with them the first time through. That second time through, they kind of got to him. I don't know if it's fair to say he's not ready for the majors. It could be. But right now, the Braves need him, so we'll see. Sorry, my computer is running a little slow. A couple super chats. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate it. But really appreciate it. Having trouble popping it up. I'm going to pull it up on this. For some reason, when my computer's on, it things go buggy. I don't know why. Kyra says they have a terrific farm system because they get all their main roster in free agency and never have to worry about developing their players in the system. That's part of it, and you're right, but they've always had a good farm system. When you look at 10 years ago, Kershaw's a Dodger, right? Dustin May was a Dodger. Will Smith is a Dodger, but, Will Smith might be the only position player that I can think of that's a Dodger, right? The whole roster, it felt like back in the day, 5-6 years ago, maybe even, it felt like the Dodgers were the Dodgers, or at least they'd been there long enough to become, embedded in, right? And it felt that way. Like if you're a Dodger, you're a Dodger for a long time. And now we're cherry picking who we want, from whatever. Oh, the Red Sox don't want to pay Mookie Betts? We'll pay him. We'll take care of it. Freddie Freeman's having issues with Atlanta. Oh, come on over. And at a certain point, it's an abundance of resources that you don't really need. Kyle Tucker was a slap in the face almost, Edwin Diaz didn't even surprise me. And when you look at the rotation, it's like, what do you need this many arms for in the playoffs? You're insured. If you're a team and you can get away with it, why wouldn't you? And that's kind of the problem, right? We have a lot of guys in the chat tonight. Really do appreciate that. You guys have been awesome. We're not going to go on too much longer, but I just want to tell you thank you guys for tuning in. We may be bugging out. I'm not sure. This monitor is going extremely slow, so we're going to pull up a chat on my phone. Bear with me, guys. I am working on it. Michael Clayton says, I hope this is not the final move. I don't see Mahle adding any advantage. He has lost more than he has won over his career, and he has an ERA over 4. I hope to see a bigger name by the trade deadline. The advantage is not straight up, right? It's not like you're expecting Mahle to start Game 3 of the NLDS and potentially advance to the NLCS, right? I don't think any of us are envisioning that right now, right? I think the advantage that Mahle gives you, like I said earlier, is he's going to cover innings that otherwise your bullpen would have to, right? Or your lack of a starting rotation would have to. Or you'd have to option J.R. Ritchie to the majors to cover, which after this trade deadline, once you have those guys up, right? So at the end of the day, I think this is more of we're going to solidify our rotation. We're going to solidify our pitching staff for the remainder of the regular season. after the regular season, you can make whatever changes you want for whatever series you're in. You can make an NLDS roster. You can make an NLCS roster. You can make a World Series roster. You can make a wild card roster, right? You can make a lot of changes that you can't really make for the last leg of this regular season. And I think that's kind of what's going on. Jake Hobby tunes in. Thank you, Jake. Says Saul DeGrom might be available with Texas's recent struggles. Yeah, I don't know how much I buy into that. All due respect to Ken Rosenthal. This is not targeted at Ken Rosenthal. But the narrative that was out there was that the Rangers had decided that if they lose the game against the Astros today, that then they may move Corey Seager and or Jacob DeGrom. I just don't see how that makes a ton of sense. I mean, they might move them, but I don't think that one game is going to be the nail bite, the backbreaker to make it happen. If you're on the edge, you're either going to decide if you're a buyer or a seller, before today, in my opinion, and certainly before tomorrow. You're going to start exploring those options, but that's just my take. I don't know that I really want Jacob DeGrom. I mean, unless you could maybe, if you wanted to entertain a trade for Spencer Strider, that could be interesting. Strider could go there and finish his contract out in Texas and maybe find it again, or find himself rather, and DeGrom could come here and potentially win a World Series in his, in the twilight era of his career. But I don't think they would do it, and I don't know that we would do it either, to be completely honest with you. Can't believe the Cubs got Gausman. I can. I would have liked to have gotten Gausman, but, Gausman really thrives in big ballparks, and I don't know that Truist is really, I don't know that I would classify that as a big ballpark. Let's see. Who said that? I just saw it. Yeah, Gausman was never coming to Atlanta. Maybe. I saw someone a second ago. I must have lost it, but somebody said the 5 ERA line. Yeah, here we go. Little Lee, over 5.13 ERA, 3-9 record, wins 1, loses 3. All right, so first off, win and losses don't matter anymore in baseball. Not as a pitcher. I hate to say it. Look, Phil Necro's 300 wins still matter to me, but in today's day and age, they don't really matter, right? Not when you're talking about trades. Yes, it's nice if you have a winning record. It's nice if you have an undefeated record. It's great, and it says something. But to me, it doesn't tell the full story, right? Especially when you're on a team like the Giants who are in the, Casey Mize doesn't have a winning record, I don't believe. He's on the Tigers. They're in near last place, if not last place. So, I mean, it's wins are indicative of, number one, yes, how you pitch, but also how much run support you get. So I don't know that I would use win-loss as a fair way to go about it, if that makes sense. For me, the better stat for Mahle, which a lot of people are going to flat out ignore. Everybody keeps talking about the 5 ERA. Don't forget, last week he had a 3.06 ERA. So ERAs change wildly, right? A more accurate stat for him would probably be his FIP, which is basically his ERA if fielding was, perfect. His ERA, that would be a 4.38. So he's got a sub-5 ERA in my book. And I use FIP more than I use ERA for the majority of the time, because a lot of times, your fielders don't have your back and things happen out of your control. And that's a better stat. Fielding independent percentage. If you've never heard of it, you ought to look into it. I like that stat a lot more. But again, it's one bad start against the Padres that kind of sent that haywire. Yeah, I mean, just like Josie Wells says, we get him for a guy that Rockies DFA'd, so he's essentially costing us nothing. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly, right? I mean, we're giving up Anthony Molina. People are acting like we're giving up, the farm here. Not Cam Caminiti, not John Hill, not Eric Hartman. we're giving up Anthony Molina. We're not even giving up AAA guys, I don't think. Benicio asked a good question. What's up with Joe Jimenez? Haven't heard anything. Joe Jimenez, check out his Instagram, actually. Joe Jimenez posted a video a while back talking about his rehab and recovery, and it has been a long, hard process for Joe Jimenez. I respect it. I believe he's still got a locker in the clubhouse. I don't know how long his career will last, being under the current situation that he's in, but he is working with everything he has to come back, and that says a lot about him. And I hope he does. I don't know if I don't think it'll be this year. I hope it's next, but we'll see. Soul Still Burns says, AA always surprises. Remember the sale trade. No one saw it coming. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly, right? Like, we really don't know what's going to happen. It could be nothing. It could be crickets. It could also be all of a sudden we're getting a Casey Mize. All of a sudden we're getting a Robbie Ray or a Logan Webb. We don't know. We don't know what's happening behind closed doors. I can't wait to find out come tomorrow. That is why we are going live tomorrow night, is because we do it every year, no matter what the situation may be. A couple of years ago we did it, and it's like, man, they're really not going to do anything, and that was kind of awful. Hopefully that doesn't happen tomorrow. If you were here with us, thank you, but very few people were. I don't think that's going to be the case. Something could happen overnight tonight. We'll see, but is what it is. If we're asleep, I apologize. We'll get on first thing in the morning, but I don't foresee that happening. I think it'll be more later in the day, if anything. But surely teams are going to start really firing off tomorrow at the deadline. And a key thing to remember, we've seen this before, anytime you're looking at the trade deadline, you don't stop at 6. You got to wait 15, 20 minutes after that to really know that it's over, because a lot of times it happens right there, and you gotta wait because it hasn't come through all the way. Keith Parker says Mahle will hopefully be like Jesse Chavez, eat up middle relief. I think he's going to be a starter, but he can still eat up innings. I don't want you to think of it as starter/reliever. It doesn't really matter. He's eating innings, period, right? That's what Bartolo Colon is really good at. He can eat innings and pitch and post up and keep you competitive, but eat innings and not send it to your bullpen after 3 or 4 innings. That's the key here, right? The bullpen is really, they're going through it. So hopefully that'll be the case. Appreciate you guys pushing through the ads. Really do appreciate that. We're going to run one here in a second to pay the bills ourselves, but really do appreciate that. Really do appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. We're going to go to a quick break. When we return, we're going to go through some of the final questions. If you have them, send them in a super chat. And I'm going to start reading comments as quickly and as good as I can, answer them as best I can. Maybe not. There, let's do it the old.
Going on right now at Glenn Smith and Opelika.
Both Chevy Silverado and Traverse are ready for you. Get supplier pricing today on all new Chevy Silverado 1500s with up to $13,500 off. Or get a loaded Traverse, the roomy Chevy SUV with third row seating, and enjoy up to $6,000 off.
Buy today and make no payments for 120 days.
Smart people from all over the USA buy from Glenn Smith Chevrolet.
Get ready to smile. Going on right now at Glenn Smith and Opelika.
Enjoy huge savings on our complete lineup of GMC Sierras and GMC Terrains. Full-size and powerful GMC Sierra at $13,500 off.
Buy today and make no payments for 120 days.
Drive away in the stylish GMC Terrain as low as $395 a month. People from all over the USA buy from Glenn Smith Chevrolet.
Check us out 24/7 at glennsmith.com.
Get ready to smile. Going on right now at Glenn Smith.
All right, guys, welcome back. Special thanks to our sponsor, by the way, Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC. They've been great to us over the years. lot of folks asking, do I think anything's going to happen overnight? It could. I mean, anything can happen. What I pray doesn't happen is I go to bed in 20, 30 minutes and I get a notification saying that something major happened. But if it does, I very well may come out here and be live once again. I hope that's not the case. I've tried to give it a solid hour to give it a gauge, but we'll see. Let's see. If someone could explain to me what BCR is, I keep seeing it in the chat, and I don't know what it is. Soul Still Burns, thank you for asking this. My 1-year anniversary, is it coming up soon? It actually just passed. July 5th is our anniversary. We took a trip to Charleston. Part of the reason why I haven't been doing content regularly, you know, it comes with it, right? Super chat from Keith Parker. I'm aware he is a starting pitcher, but Mahle could easily give our relievers some time off. He could, and I think it's more potential for that if we get 2 starting pitchers. That would be what I would say. BCR is running ads on us. That's funny. Sorry about that. I don't control the ads. They just run. So, but appreciate that. I think when it comes to Mahle, yes, he's not a starting pitcher, or he is a starting pitcher. He is going to eat innings. He could very well be a reliever later in the season. If you were to pick up 2 more, how do I put this, solidified starters that you really want in your rotation, he could be a long reliever if you want. But is what it is. A lot of folks in the chat talking about BCR. I am not affiliated. Bobby Walker, you're going to be my last question for tonight. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. The question is, who is my top target? Check out the last video I did. You'll see. But I'll tell you, it's Casey Mize. That's who I want us to go get. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. We will see you guys tomorrow night here. I'm going to tell you we're starting at 5 o'clock. If nothing breaks, we're starting at 5 o'clock. If something breaks, if you get a notification on your phone, you need to be watching YouTube, because we are planning to get right back on and get on here and talk about whatever does pop up, whatever does happen. In fact, I may leave it here. I may leave the stream going for a few minutes just to make sure I don't need to come back on, because I really do think we are on the cusp of seeing something. We're not going to, leave it running for no reason, but we are going to be back tomorrow. We will live react to whatever happens. If you have not already, please do us a solid. Like this video. Really do appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. All that good stuff. And if you can, turn on the bell. Hit the bell. Get notified. That way you know the moment we're live tomorrow and any time after that. Really would appreciate it. And again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for fighting through the ads. I'll try to work on that for you. You're helping me pay the bills, if nothing else. I'll see what I can do about that. Appreciate you guys. And again, we'll see you next time right here at On Deck.
Baseball fans, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for your support. Baseball fans, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for your support.